This is Mornings
with David Bevan
on ABC Radio Adelaide.
ABC Radio Adelaide.
Ritesh Chugh is an associate professor at the Central Queensland University and joins us now. Good morning, Ritesh.
Morning, David.
Thank you very much for giving us some of your time. When people watch the news in the last few days, we've seen these stories of electric bikes blowing up, literally blowing up. Now, we've had we had a fire down at Seaford here in Adelaide, and there was another one, I think it was at a student hostel in Sydney. These are the lithium-ion batteries for electric bikes. What about the batteries in our phones? Do we have to be worried about them?
Absolutely. We have to be worried about every rechargeable lithium-ion battery, whether that is in your mobile phone, whether that's in a laptop, whether that's in an e-scooter, whether that's in your tablet, your iPad or any other tablet, e-bikes, and also your power tools. In fact, David, yesterday the ACCC has issued an advisory warning customers about the fire hazards that lithium-ion batteries can cause.
Why do they catch a lot?
It's because of the chemical composition in the batteries. And typically, often what happens is consumers overcharge the batteries, which causes combustion and eventually fire. And also, one of the other problems, David, that gets widely reported is customers use incorrect chargers, and I want to talk about phones in particular. Customers use the incorrect chargers. They don't use the original chargers. They go and buy chargers that are non-compatible, and hence the heat flow between those devices, that is your charger and your phone, causes overheating, eventually leading to fire.
Okay. Should your charger warm up while it's charging the phone? I don't mean too hot to touch. I mean, you can feel that it's warm.
Well, technically, in theory, lithium-ion batteries can be overcharged, which is what leads to that heating. Sometimes you will also notice, so for example, when you're working on your phone or your iPad and you put it on your lap or on a blanket, you will feel the heat.
Yes.
Now that's because, these devices have to be used in well-ventilated areas.
Right.
And because lithium-ion batteries, in theory, they can be overcharged, it leads to battery overheating and catching fire. However, the good news, David, is that most modern devices, which is whether it's your iPad or your phone, have built-in protection mechanisms that automatically stop the battery from charging further than 100%. Which means, the reason we've got those built-in mechanisms is to prevent any damage from overcharging.
Right.
And interestingly, David, devices like your Apple's iPhone or Samsung Galaxy phone devices nowadays offer an option in their functionality where we can restrict how much we need to charge our phone. So for example, iPhone, you can restrict it to stop charging past 80%. Whereas Samsung devices, you can restrict the maximum charge to 85%. And the reason companies offer this is to extend the battery lifespan of your phone.
Oh, okay. So you can extend the battery if you don't charge it all the way up to 100%?
Absolutely. In fact, the rule is 20 to 80%. Don't allow it to dip below 20%, and don't charge it over 80%. Oh. That's the general rule. And look, this is not just for mobile phones, even electric vehicles. It's the same rule that applies. So 20 to 80%.
All right. And if you're letting it go below 20% and then charging up, or if you're charging it all the way to 100% regularly, that's going to wear the battery out.
Absolutely. Battery lifespan. And see, there are two things that I think it's important for your listeners to differentiate. There is a difference between battery life and battery lifespan. Battery life is the amount of time your device runs before it needs to be recharged. whereas battery lifespan is the amount of time your battery lasts until it needs replacement. So, I mean, what we really want is to extend the lifespan of the battery, and hence that 20 to 80% charging is recommended.
Can you overcharge your phone? I think you're saying yes.
Most modern phones don't allow that to happen.
Okay, right.
Most modern phones don't allow that to happen. And like I said, because the functionality is available in the phones,
Right.
I would urge your listeners to use that functionality so that, you're optimizing your battery charging cycle.
Yeah.
So, and it's very simple functionality. If you go to your battery settings, if you're using an iPhone, you can restrict it so that it doesn't go past 80%. Samsung, you can restrict it so it doesn't go past 85%. And it's good for your battery's lifespan also.
Can your phone battery explode from charging?
Okay, technically, no, but theoretically, yes. And that goes back to when you started, David. When you started, remember, you alluded to the stories that we've all been hearing, phones exploding. So although these are rare circumstances, they do happen. However, these usually happen because of poor quality hardware, physical damage to your device itself, and manufacturing faults. So if you see that, you have a battery where the back is bulging or swelling,
Get rid of
means
that.
there has been problem. Absolutely get rid of it. Don't start charging it again and again repeatedly till the time there is a fire.
No, don't do that. Yeah. Tip for everybody: if your phone is bulging, get rid of it.
And see the other tip, David, very important tip. And the ACCC has yesterday again advised this: do not use off-market chargers.
Right.
Because, the power delivery, because you see the power delivery is measured in 3 different ways: amps, volts, and watts. And I don't want to get into the technicality, but in off-market chargers, these things can be off. So in other words, they don't match your device, and they don't necessarily meet the required safety standards. So please use original or certified power chargers.
Right. And we're talking about phone batteries.
Yes.
But these general tips, Ritesh, they would apply to anything that requires a battery.
Absolutely.
So it might be a battery-powered chainsaw or lawnmower or e-bike or car.
Absolutely. All lithium-ion batteries, the same guidelines typically apply. And interestingly, David, again, I'm quoting ACCC yesterday because this happened yesterday after I'd published my article. They reported that 54% of their respondents, so they did a survey, used aftermarket chargers. And remember, aftermarket chargers are not just for phones. It could be for your power drill at home.
And don't use it.
And that can cause problems. Absolutely.
Don't use it.
Don't.
Deb on the text line says, sometimes my Samsung gets very hot when charging the battery. Why? I only ever charge it to 85%. But it sounds like Deb needs to throw the battery away, get a new one.
Oh, no, I think check the charger first.
Or throw the
Because
charger away.
It could be the charger, and often we all go and buy off-market charging cables also.
Right, so
I'm guilty of that. I bought
Ritesh.
an off-market charging cable last year.
I don't know how you look at yourself in the mirror.
And it was overheating. And I literally used it for 3 days, and I said, no, can't do this anymore because it can lead to safety hazards.
And just to be quite clear, when you talk about off-market, you mean if you've got a Samsung, buy a Samsung charger. If you've got an Apple, get an Apple charger. If you've got, I don't know, Nokia or whatever. And likewise, if you've got, say, an Ozito electric chainsaw or lawnmower, get that brand charger. It might cost you more, but you can be confident.
Yep. And like I said previously, don't use batteries that are overheating or showing signs of bulging backs.
No.
Yep.
No. I don't think you need to be an associate professor in sociotech to work there. But if there's somebody persisting, thinking, oh, I'll squeeze a bit more life out of this thing, don't do it. Throw it away. It's too dangerous.
Yeah, absolutely. And David, the other thing a lot of us do is we leave our phone charging overnight.
Is that a good idea?
Not at all.
Oh.
You don't need to. You don't need to charge overnight or for an extended period. Typically, most phones charge, and most modern phones, between 30 minutes to 2 hours. That's all they take.
That's it.
So, I mean, it is important that we disconnect it from the power source the moment the battery reaches 100%. So overnight, that is not happening. Although, modern devices restrict, they have a charging cycle. So if you notice, and you probably try noticing it today, the first let's say for the first 30 minutes, the charging speed is quite high, then it slows down.
Yeah.
That's because that's how the software is working in the background.
A listener asks, what about those stick vacuums that hang up with the charger, so they're charging all the time? Do you know the ones with...
Yes. Unfortunately, they don't have you can't observe the battery cycle with them. And like I said, modern devices are built to have, we call them a cut-off software in the background.
Yeah.
That when they reach a particular limit, it stops charging. So I'm assuming that those vacuum cleaners have that inbuilt.
Right. If you've bought it from a well-known, reputable manufacturer, you would expect that if the hang-up device is also doubles as a charger, it would have a cut-off built into it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
But if you notice any problems, don't mess around with it.
And keep your lithium-ion battery devices, and particularly when you're charging them, in a well-ventilated area, not under, and particularly when you're using your phones and tablets, don't put them under a blanket or on your pillow.
No, don't do it.
While it's connected to a power source.
Okay.
And some people, they'll connect it to a charger and keep it under their doona and go to sleep.
Yeah.
That's a big no-no.
No, don't do that. Maha has called from Kings Park with a question for Associate Professor Ritesh Chugh. He is a sociotech expert with the Central Queensland University. Good morning, Maha.
Good morning, David. Yes, my son had always advised me not to fast charge any of the mobile devices, and unless and otherwise it's absolutely necessary, especially the overnight charging. And he always says the last 10% is trickle charging, which takes more time than the first 80 to 90% charging, which happens quickly. Right. And so he has changed the settings in my mobile, and he always keeps a TCOS behind the laptop if the laptop is flat. Nowadays it has come with a little bit of wedge which lifts the laptop up behind, but he always has well ventilation and all these things he advises me on. And not to have fast charging, and he has switched off.
And are you ringing up to ask Ritesh if your son is giving you good advice?
I think he is, by the looks of it.
I hope he is. Ritesh, what do you think of Maha's son?
Good advice. I mean, your son's giving you good advice. However, look, modern smartphones offer fast charging. It's good that you've turned it off, because if you don't feel the need, but sometimes, when there is a need to fast charge, you can turn the setting on, because by turning fast charging off, you're actually extending the lifespan of your battery.
Right.
However, one thing that did concern me, Maha, you said that your laptop is kind of wedging in the back. Did I get that correct?
Is that right, Maha? Is that what you said? Well, is Maha still there?
Back up nowadays.
Sorry, Maha, we just missed the start of your reply. Did you say your phone was wedging?
No. The laptop, when you open the laptop, it lifts the back up a little bit nowadays in the modern laptops. But the older laptops we had, it was flat sitting on the desk. So he used to have a tea coaster or something to lift the ventilation up.
Just to give it some ventilation. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's good.
No, that's good.
All right. Well done to you, Maha. And we'll get your son's phone number. If Ritesh isn't ever available, we can give him a call. He can do the text bot. Thank you, Maha. Felicia is next from the Hills. Hello, Felicia.
Hello. I live in a bad mobile signal area, and I've just looked at the battery information, and it says that I use 44% of my battery looking for a mobile signal. So if I only charged it up to 80%,
Yeah.
and it's not meant to go below 20%, I'd have no battery to use.
Right.
If you get my drift.
Okay.
So,
Ritesh, any advice for Felicia?
Look, it's unfortunate that you're in an area, it appears, where mobile signal appears to be a problem, and what's happening, as you can understand in the background, the phone's constantly trying to connect to a network signal, which is consuming battery. But to answer your question, it's a trade-off that you have to make now. Whether you want to extend the lifespan of your battery, and if you want to do that, then, I would still recommend that 20 to 80%. But there is no clear answer for that because, and mobile phones are very important these days.
Now, we're quickly going to run out of time. We have got this text from a listener who said, I bought a torch from a cheap website. It was a lithium battery. While I was charging, I heard a loud bang. I ran to the bedroom only to see a lot of smoke coming out of it. I picked it up and I ran it outside. It fizzled and crackled, followed by a small explosion, sending parts of it across the garden with flames coming out of it. I was lucky not to have it explode in my hands. This is dangerous stuff, Ritesh.
Absolutely. Whenever your lithium-ion batteries are being recharged, it's advisable to not leave them unattended. And that's why, we want to avoid overnight charging also, because you're in deep slumber. Yeah. And if there is if your phone overheats or if there's a problem and if there's a fire, then, it can create problems.
Yeah. Okay.
And just the other thing, David, is, your listener was saying, the battery exploded.
Yeah.
It's always also good and I'm talking about phones here, is when you get your phones repaired, it's always good to take them to an authorized service center.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're going to have to get you back, Ritesh. We've got so many questions about this stuff. But just very quickly, our last caller will be Susan from Glenelg. Hello, Susan.
Hello, David. I'm a long-term listener to the ABC, and sometimes I think you talk the biggest load of rubbish, and I get absolutely furious with you.
What, with me?
Yes.
What are you angry with me for?
Oh, well, you do carry on sometimes. But I'm trying to say that I'm nearly 88 and I've never had anything so interesting as this last talk about mobile phones, because I am sick and tired of my grandchildren saying, oh, you don't do the right thing. You're hopeless, Grandma. So now I know it all. And I'm going to be the biggest bore. I'm going to tell them all of them.
Excellent.
They don't know what they're talking
Susan.
about.
Sorry, David, I might jump in. Thank you, Susan. You did get me a bit worried.
Yeah, well, she worried me too. I'm wondering how she got through. How'd they let you through, Susan?
Well, a lovely girl called Sarah.
Oh,
Yes, she was very, very nice. Understanding.
So you said, Sarah, I want to come on and say David talks a lot of old rubbish, and Susan said, I can't get you on the radio quick enough.
Well, yes, she did. And I can't believe why you keep saying to people,
yes,
oh, I understand how difficult it is to talk on the radio, and you go on like this. And I think, oh, for goodness sake, shut up and just get on with it.
You sure this isn't Jeanette on the phone?
No, but I do. Sometimes you tell me things about her, Susan, and I think, what a lovely lady she sounds.
I could go home and get this kind of abuse, Susan. I don't need to sit here and get it from you. Susan, thank you for your call.
My mobile phone is
all fixed
control now.
Right.
It's all under control.
Well, excellent.
Thank you.
And you use it to call us, Susan. You're welcome anytime. Well, with Sarah anyway. Ritesh, thank you very much. That was so embarrassing, Ritesh, that we had that with our listeners. Usually they're very well behaved.
Thank you. I'm glad it ended on a positive note.
Yeah, so am I. Ritesh, we'll have to get you back. You're very patient.
You. And I hope I can get one of your cocoa mugs too.
Oh gosh,
that'll make it 3 for the day.
Yeah, see, this is what happens. You're nice, and people take advantage of you. And Susan's not getting one, that's for sure. Ritesh, thank you very much. Associate Professor Ritesh Chugh. He is socio-tech expert at the Central Queensland University.